this recipe, I'm going to be using the Monolith Avantgarde Smart Grid system to do these crispy lamb ribs with a spicy anchovy and garlic dressing. First thing we need to do is marinate the ribs. So we've got these delicious lamb ribs, so what I'm going to do now is to cut them into individual pieces. And then I'm going to marinate them in some olive oil, salt, black pepper. I've got some garlic granules there and some dried thyme and dried oregano. So lamb ribs are one of my favourite cuts. They're still quite affordable. They've got that delicious layer of fat. If you like fat on your lamb, you'll love these. It goes super, super crispy and sweet. One of the nicest cuts you can buy. So here we've got our garlic granules, dried thyme and oregano, and then some olive oil and some seasoning. We'll give that a really good massage. Make sure all the ribs are covered. So now we're looking at the Smart Grid system. So what we got here, we got our higher rack, which is further away from the coals, obviously, and underneath there's a drip tray. So the lamb will sit on here quite happily, and that's going to cook at a slightly slower temperature. These are going to take around about 60 to 90 minutes. So shut the lid. Let's have a look at the temperature. So the lid has been up for a while now and it's dropped down to about just below 150, so that's pretty good. If it was running too high, then we just adjust the air inlets just a little bit. So let's get on with the next part. So that's the potatoes. So these potatoes have been sat for about an hour in a brine. So think sugar, salt, water. That's going to impart a lot of flavour into these potatoes. They're going to go on a lower rack directly over the coals. Now these will take around about 45 minutes. Shut the lid and then we start looking at the dressing. For that I've got some anchovy, some garlic, some chilli and some parsley. Now the first thing I need to do is to dissolve those anchovies and the garlic in a decent amount of olive oil. So I'm going to need a hot pan. So using the Smart Grid system, on with the grill. So then put a pan straight on the barbecue just to heat it up, and we're just going to open the airways just a little bit to bring that temperature up. To make the dressing, we're going to need some of these anchovies. You're going to need about sort of 6 to 8 anchovy fillets. Now it's a classic combination of anchovies and lamb. If you think it sounds a bit strange, then just bear with it and try it because it is delicious. It doesn't taste fishy, it's just got this beautiful kind of salty element to it and it just elevates the lamb. I'm slicing up some garlic as well. I've got 3 big cloves of garlic. Now we want those when they hit the oil, we want them to go nice and sort of caramelized, nice and sort of a light brown color. Okay, so our pan should be hot now. So in with a good amount of oil, in with the garlic and the anchovy and a pinch of chili. The chili flakes are going to give you a real kind of earthy kick. The oil here is bubbling away nicely, so I'm just going to shut the lid and come back to that in 2 ticks. Take a big bunch of parsley and give it a chop. We're going to blend it anyway, so it just needs to be rough. Let's look, see how the oil's doing. So the garlic is looking pretty good. The anchovies are almost dissolved, so into the blender. Touch of red wine vinegar, and then give it a blitz. That's got a great colour, a really punchy flavour. So the ribs are coming on beautifully. You can see how their fat is just shrinking away there, so you're just left with all the crispy bits and the flesh is taking on this beautiful colour. So let's get on with the last part, which is the broccoli. So you can see the potatoes are taking on a nice charred look and taste. Just move those aside and then put the broccoli on the lower level. So the nice thing about the Smart Grid system here is that you've got different heights, you've got different temperatures, you can put things lower down, you want those kind of scorched, fierce cooking, you've got that. Take things higher and it's slightly away from the flame, you've got direct cooking, you've got indirect cooking. I mean, you've got everything you need, basically. Okay, so we should be nearly there. So the potatoes are done, the broccoli is nicely charred, and the lamb ribs are ready to go. They've lost a lot of their weight because a lot of that fat disappears, but that's exactly what you want. Nice pieces of meat and crispy fat. So the broccoli and the potatoes have taken on that nicely kind of charred appearance. We're going to finish that with a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil. And then lastly, we need some of this really punchy dressing. And there's no real ceremony with a dish like this. This is true kind of family style. Put it in the middle of the table and let everyone dive in. So there you go, that's crispy lamb ribs with my little garlic, anchovy and parsley dressing. Oh, delicious. They're ace.